Emily Severy.
Arlene Schofield.
My name is Shireen Snow.
My name is Carla A. Miles.
Diana Camuto.
This is Christine Dunford.
I'm me, Eden.
Caroline Macy. This is Walker Fannin.
I'm Camille Dixon.
I'm Sarah Dates Woodham.
My name is Linda Preston, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
My name is Keith Andrew, and I'm here as Andrea Hadhazy, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Glad to be here.
And if I butcher your name, I do apologize. It's part of my disability.
That's okay.
Now, for people who want to know the point of my talk show, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, if you can tell, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and to prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, and to prove to them you can break the labels. With that being said, half hour, 37 minutes of your time. You can say anything you want, freedom of speech, self-expression, and it's uncensored, and you can call me an asshole for messing up your last name. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you some easy questions, then some hard-hitting ones. So the first one I was going to ask you is, how was life growing up? And when you went to college, what did you major in?
Life growing up was interesting. I think everyone has their own stories. There was some really, really good times. There were some really, really bad times. Like every family, there were challenges and things that weren't so great. And at the same time, there were some amazing things that happened growing up and memories that were wonderful. So I guess that's the nutshell of it. My family was interesting because my dad worked in professional football. Oh, nice. So we moved several times when I was a kid. And there were times when he made an incredible amount of money, and there were stretches where he was unemployed. So we were able to experience life as a very well-off, wealthy family, and we were able to experience life as a very poor family. So to see both sort of aspects growing up was, I think, advantageous to a degree, because you don't get really egotistical about when you're really doing well, and then you also don't get too low when it's really, you know how to survive when times are tight, if that makes sense. As for college, my major in college was not what I wanted it to be. I ended up going to college on a scholarship, so I went to the school that paid me to go there as opposed to the school I really wanted to go to. Yeah. And my major was English. So I actually was an English major, and my family was dead set against that. They were not pleased with that. They called it a waste of my brain power, which my father was an English major, and considering that he was a high-ranking executive in the greatest professional sports organization in the history of the world, he was not upset that I was an English major. So I was an English major. That's what I studied as my major, but my concentration within my major was writing, and I had a dual minor in theater and music, which is what I really wanted to study. But, it was a typical liberal arts degree, liberal arts education, very well-rounded, and got a great college experience. So there you go.
Hey, you can do laps around me. Some people say I don't have brain power. And when I say, okay, let me think about it, it's like, okay, well, don't think about it too hard because we don't want you to hurt yourself.
But things are relative. It's all a matter of perspective in your model of the world, and it doesn't really mean anything, because what I do for a living, I don't need a college degree for. So, the people would say, well, why did you get a college degree if that's not what you wanted to do? And it's just the time that's just what you did. That was what was sort of expected of you to do. And now when I see friends of mine who are like, I want my kids to go to college, I want this, I'm like, that's not necessarily the path for everyone. So there's different paths for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. But what college did you want to go to?
Oh, goodness. Well, at the time, because I was in the terminology, say brainiac, nerd, geek, whatever words you want to use, I wanted to apply to Ivy League schools. I wanted to go to the Yales, the Harvards, the Brown universities, blah, 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 blah. When it came right down to the schools I was allowed to apply to, my parents had this very interesting thing, because at the time my father was unemployed when I was getting ready to go to college, that they had put a monetary cap. I couldn't apply to a school past a certain dollar amount in tuition. So even though I could have easily maybe gotten into those schools, maybe gotten scholarships to those schools, I wasn't allowed to apply. So of the schools I was allowed to apply to, the school I went to was like 4th on my list, but it was free. So that's where I went. The schools I wanted, not that the school I went to was terrible. When I got there, it ended up being the perfect place, the perfect opportunity. I don't have any regrets about where I went to college at all. So it was all good.
No, absolutely. Now, the next question I was going to ask you, was there any sports that you performed? And did you ever want to become a professional athlete like your dad?
You know what? Yes and no. When I was much younger, I was really good at tennis. I was all-state on our high school team. I was varsity, all that good stuff. But I wasn't good enough to be a professional. I never would be good enough to be a professional. My father was a natural athlete. He was, in addition, he played tennis on a scholarship to college. He was drafted by the Dodgers, all this stuff. So he was, a true, well-rounded athlete. He could do more than one sport. And my brother and my sister inherited his athletic ability, and I inherited my mother's lack of athletic ability. In retrospect, I was more athletically inclined like my mother was, more of a dancer, more of a klutz than, my brother and sister who can run super fast. I cannot run fast at all, and my father. So I wanted to be there, but I wasn't at that level. My sister was ranked number 1 in the state in tennis. She went to college on a scholarship just like my father did. That wasn't me. But as an adult, I've actually done a lot of triathlons as an adult. I'll never be a professional, no way. But I have won awards at the triathlon level because I'm overweight. So I always get on the podium top 3, and I win a medal being top 3 in my weight class. So, I'm kind of like the little engine that could. I'm very slow and I'm very round, but I'm faster than all the other slow round girls. So there you go.
So I guess it evens out.
Yeah.
What about, did he ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or not into the whole human pyramid stuff?
Nope. I would not give anybody that torture. So no. I was never skinny enough to do that. I was never a cheerleader, and the closest I ever got to doing anything even remotely like that is a few years ago. Some friends of mine, we did a Tough Mudder together as a team, one of those big adventure races, and I didn't want to do it because I was like, guys, I'm slower than everybody on our team, and I'm heavier than everybody on our team. Some of the guys were a lot heavier than I was, but they could pull themselves over walls. So it didn't matter that they were like 250 pounds; they could still pull themselves over the walls. I couldn't, and they're like, "We'll help you. We'll push you over the walls. We'll pull you up and everything." And there were 4 walls in the race. And there was an 8-foot wall just to get to the start line. And once they got me over the 8-foot wall, I'm like, okay, I can do this. So we did an 8-foot wall, and we did a 10-foot wall, and we did a 12-foot wall, and then we did a 15-foot wall, but it was at an angle. And while they were getting me up this 15-foot wall, which is at a slant, my friend's husband, who's one of my best friends, I elbowed him in the face, blood was blushing out of his nose. Okay, I hurt him. Didn't mean to hurt him. Didn't break his nose, thank God, but injured him at the moment. And then the guy who was at the top of the 15-foot wall, he's grabbing me by his arm, and I hyperextended his wrist. So when we hit the next wall, which was another 15-foot wall, but straight up, I said, nope, I'm good. You've put me over 4 walls. You don't have to put me over 5. You know, I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm just going to go around and do my burpee, penalty, and we'll just go from there. And so that was the one thing I declined out of all the Tough Mudder obstacles. That's the one I did not do because I didn't want to hurt anybody. I was like, I proved myself. You proved to me you could get me over the walls. We did it as a team. We stayed with the team the whole day. I don't need to injure anyone. It's not worth it. So.
I remember I did the obstacle course, and it was just like the part, like the tunnel. That basically you have to go on your hands and knees and go underneath the tunnel. And the guy or the girl was taking too long. And I was impatient. Like I wanted to, get through this because my friends were over there waiting for me. So I went under. I waited about 2 minutes, and it's like, what are you doing? Are you sleeping under there? So I went under, and at that same time, I got halfway and got kicked in the face.
Oh, not fun.
No, it's not. So I'm below slow, but impatient. But with that being said, for your acting career, and in your career in general, who influenced you to start your career, and have you ever worked with people with disabilities?
It's an interesting question. Goodness, a lot of people influenced me. I wanted to be a singer more than I wanted to be an actor, if that makes any sense. The biggest influence growing up was Barbra Streisand. She was all over my house, and Motown. My dad was a huge Motown fan, and my mother was a Barbra Streisand fan, and that was my biggest influences. And then I discovered musical theater. So my big goal was to be on Broadway. That was what I wanted my whole life, to be on Broadway, to be on Broadway, to be on Broadway. It didn't happen. I was in operas and things like that. And I moved to Las Vegas many, many years ago to be a professional singer. That was the goal. And now, in that journey, I didn't come across a lot of people with disabilities to a degree. As an athlete doing, triathlons and things like that, I come across more people with disabilities as an athlete than as an actor. And the thing that's been interesting is, as a voiceover actor now, what I do professionally, I do run across a lot of people with disabilities because they can do voice acting, and it's one of those things where, they might be physically disabled, unable to get around, recovering from surgeries, and maybe temporarily disabled. And I've been temporarily disabled as well, where I've been, in a knee walker and unable to walk for 10 weeks, which definitely opens up a different world when you're not able to move around like you normally would, to really see how someone with disabilities can navigate the world to a degree. I hope that answers the question. So.
Okay. I had a lot of people influence me. I use my brother for an inspiration. I use my sister for an inspiration. I use my dad. But just a lot of different variations. But the biggest ones to me was, it started as a birthday wish. Because, people say, long story short, people say when you turn 21, it's the most special birthday you can have in a lifetime. And I'm like, okay, I live only once. I don't drink or smoke. I tried drinking, didn't work for me. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. If I have to die, I would like to have a couple famous friends. And I was told to go blank myself. I was told I was a lowlife, a parasite, a mark. So I said, okay, well, how can I still have famous friends, but making that list happen, but actually turning it into a job? And I got tired, and this is what broke the camel's back. I got tired sitting around with my family and saying, one of my brothers, he didn't know what to do with his life. And everyone's like, you can take the state exam, you can do this, you can do that. He talked to him, talked to her, and I said, what about me? And like, what about you? One, you piss people off. Okay, sometimes it's deliberate, I do. But I piss people off. I have poor mannerisms. I'm not educated. I read and learn at a 5th grade level. I was classified as handicapped, mentally challenged, retarded. And I was going to be a burden for someone for the rest of their life. So I'm going to say, I said, uncensored, I said, fuck it. I'm going to show you with a disability that if you want to keep it PG, I said, screw it, but I'm going to tell you what I really said. But I said, screw it. I'm going to show you with a disability, but I can still amount to something. And for the past 4.5 years, day in, day out, and this is what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very passionate. I want to do this till I die, not by being in my bedroom or my studio, but I want to take it to the next step. And I want to show people, hey, this kid was handicapped, as we start retarded, reads and learn at a 5th grade level, but look at what he was capable of putting together. And if he can do it, doesn't matter if you're deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair, or whatever excuses and labels people throw on you. If I can do it, you can do it too. Because it's your life, and you're in control.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, was there any, do you have any funny stories you like to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote?
To be honest, I don't have any funny stories because there's really not like crazy stuff going on. In the voiceover world, the things that happen that are funny are usually, someone does something embarrassing in the booth and the engineers and I will joke about it later. Someone will say something or we'll hear something weird. People will eat some weird food, but you don't see them. You hear it and you're like, what is going on? So that's really what happens in the voiceover world. Promoting anything right now, I don't really have much going on to promote. In my world, what happens is it's a very day in, day out thing. You audition, you book a job. You audition, you book a job. You audition, you book a job. It's very different than on-camera work because every day you're doing a lot of auditions. And, I think Backstage Magazine came out with the statistics that for every 200 auditions you submit, you actually book a job. And for me, it's closer to 100. I would say for every 100 auditions I submit, I book a job. And I try to audition between 30 to 50 jobs a day, which is a lot. So that I book a job every 2 days or things like that. So it's hard to say that there's something to promote because it's different when you are an on-camera actor or actress where, you have a television show or you have a, movie that's coming out or something like that. Or even as a singer, you have an album coming out. When you're a voiceover actor, it's, even if I did say book an animated television series, until you're on the press tour, you're not allowed to talk about it. We have non-disclosure agreements and things like that. One of the cool things that, that I can talk about is that in addition to being a voiceover actor, I also am a senior leader for the Tony Robbins organization. So I work at live events for Tony and his people, and I help people through that. And I'm trying to start a new venture where I'm going to combine my life coaching and my, personal growth skills with voiceover. In that, a lot of people in the voiceover world, it can be a very isolating position. Right. You are by yourself all the time. And for someone like me who's very extroverted, I've always got a million things going on. Because I don't just do voice acting. Voice acting is my number one, but I also substitute teach choir in the school district to help out my friend. I teach Sunday school at our local church. So occasionally they'll call me in to pick up a class or something like that. So there's always something going on that, you get out and you get to talk to other human beings. As voiceover actors, if people are married and they have children, they have their families in their home. But if it's someone like me who lives by herself, it's like it's me and my dog all the time. So you need to kind of leave your office, which is your home, to go out and to be with people. And it can be very difficult. It can be very isolating. It can be very challenging mentally to kind of be left to your own devices all the time, sort of alone with your thoughts. And when you're having a rough day, you kind of got to be able to reach out to people. And so I want to combine those two things to basically start doing life coaching for voiceover artists so that they can have these tools in their toolboxes, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually even, to go into that toolbox and pull something out when they need it. And maybe it's something that they've never experienced before, that kind of stuff. So, and then bring that sort of philosophy and teaching into my industry, because I know for a fact no one else is doing it right now. So it's just something to think about.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Cool. Awesome.
It's Russo.
Me, Mark Medley.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Neely.
Barry Papick.
This is Peter Bruno.
My name is Kyle Collier. This is Julio Santiago, better known as Dynamite.
I'm Richard Epcar.
Orange Chow.
This is Kerrigan Mahan.
This is Golder.
And we both support
Keith Andrew.
My name is Ron Wasserman, and I am supporting Keith Andrew and what he is doing, and you better do the same, or I'm going to come kick your ass.
I'm ready. I'm good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 460. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Andrea Hadhazy, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Hello.
Now, and thank you for putting up with me. For my talk shows, I try to hide my disability, but there's sometimes where my disability shows more, and I'm like, oh, why do you want to hide it? Isn't that the point of your show? And it's like, yeah, but I like to put a face on, too. It's kind of like, try to make a combination of the two. Plus, my ear's clogged, and that's throwing me off, too.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I'm going to ask you a couple of hard-hitting questions, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you. Like I said,
okay.
Normal conversation, you make a new friend out of it. And the first one is, with your acting career, how do you feel about social media? Do you think social media can make you or break you?
It depends where you're at in your career, and where you live. What I do for a living is I do voiceover acting, and I'm non-union. And I'm not based physically in LA or New York City, which are the big entertainment cities in the United States. So if I were to be based, especially as a voiceover actor in LA, I would expect to have an LA agent. I would expect to have, which I do have an LA agent, but I don't live in LA, and be able to have a very vibrant social media following. And it will come down to, especially if they're casting, say, a new Disney or Cartoon Network show. If there's someone who's casting that, they need a lead actor or actress, they will look at someone's social media following and see, well, does this person have 1,000 followers? Does this person have 10,000 followers? And 9 times out of 10 in this day and age, the person with 10,000 followers will get the job over the person who has 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that sort of like union-based job where it's a big project, social media can have a huge impact. On the flip side of that, I'm very inactive on social media. I'm not extremely active. I have a little bit of a presence. I have a few followers. I've got almost 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I've got like 12 or 1,300 on Facebook. With Twitter, I have a few hundred. It's that because I don't really do a lot of self-promotion. The problem with the voiceover industry is that voiceover actors have been told, if you have 10,000 followers, you're going to get the job over 1,000 followers. And all they do is ask other voiceover actors to follow them or ask for their help. That's not going to increase your career because those people are not the people who are going to hire you. And for me, it's not worth my time to be this huge active social media presence when I could be focusing on reaching out to the people who can hire me, reaching out to the clients whose needs I can fulfill and give them more value in what I'm doing as a voiceover talent, as opposed to trying to get a bunch of other voice actors to listen to what I have to say. And there's a really good coach in the voiceover industry who doesn't believe in spending any time blogging or doing any type of social media unless you're reaching out to the people that can hire you. Blogging is pointless because you're giving away your secrets for free, and no one who has the time to hire you and for projects has time to read your blog. You're only blogging if you're a coach, which makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and at this point, like, I'm not a performance coach. I'm not going to teach somebody how to be a voiceover actor. You know, I can do my life coaching thing, but I'm not going to do performance techniques. There's a million coaches who've taught me who are phenomenal, and there's nothing that I can, at this point in my career, that I can bring to the table that's going to be different from what they can say. So it's like, it's a good thing, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all unless you're going to be booking like a job that could get you an Emmy or an Oscar or something like that, you know? And the point is, for me personally, if someone's going to pick someone else over me just because they have more followers online, that might not be the company or the people I want to work for anyway.
No, I agree with you. And, you know, in my case, I have a great message, but yet I'm struggling to get people on board. But, you know, like right now I'm at 900, and my goal is to get 1,000 for each of them. Twitter, and I'm going to focus on Facebook and Instagram. But it's a great message, but I don't have the numbers. But you have little Johnny over here who's banging his head against the wall, and people think that's freaking hilarious. And he's getting, like, you know, hit after hit after hit. And then I'm, like, comparing that to myself, and I'm like, am I doing something wrong? It's like, is there actually something wrong with me? It's like, why is there, like, just a big gap? It's like, you know, I have the message. What is it? When I approached you, what caught your interest about me?
Just because you asked, you know, and I, like I said, you know, I have a different perspective than most people because of my work in personal development and my work with, you know, basically growing as a human being, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So for me, if someone asks for something, my number one, you know, sort of modus operandi or, you know, operating system is I will say yes until given a reason to say no. You know, which is the question that I asked you is I said, well, what can I bring to the table here? You know, because I don't know if I'm necessarily the person who's going to bring something to the table to further your message, because I'm not a good representative of your message myself, because I personally don't have any disabilities. So for me, I didn't know what I could bring to the table, but I'm more than willing to help you out until I have a reason not to. And that's just who I am, you know, because of what I've learned and what I've been through and the situations that I've gone through, that basically having a deep-seated knowing that the human condition is completely universal and that we are truly all connected, all 7 billion of us on the planet. So when someone asks for something that will take maybe an hour of my time, why say no? What's the point in that? It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt you. If anything, can only help. So why not?
No,
why not say yes?
And also, you're supporting a cause, making a new friend out of it. It's kind of funny we should mention this subject, because I was arguing with my coworker. He's like, oh, you have this great message, and I think it's wonderful, but you're misleading people. And I'm like, okay, how am I misleading people? Because you don't interview people with disabilities. And I'm like, that's not really the case. I'm turning myself into an example. Yeah, but that's great, but how does it help, you know, little Johnny over here, or little Philly, or whatever? It's like, I see it like this. I like to give people an opportunity. And, you know, people make fun of me for this. It's the thought that counts. Because when I die, I would like to be remembered for something. It doesn't matter if it's something big or something small. I would like to, you know, be remembered. And for you, for an example, I would like to say, oh, what do you remember about Keith? Oh, I think he was a sweet guy, and he was nice enough to give me a chance to be on his talk show. Or I liked his message, and it made a difference in my life. Or whatever it may be. So I like to give people opportunities. Doesn't matter, you know, if you have a disability or not. You live only once, and given that time, you should do something that resonates with people. But the guy didn't understand, and he was just purposely dissected it and everything. It's purposely.
Well, I mean, I'll say, he does have a point in some respect, because, the people come on your show, like for me, for instance, I know you're trying to further, our careers and things like that, but you need a bigger platform in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that's what you're doing, but at this point in time, everything that you're doing is to a degree, it's practice, as I like to say.
Yeah.
When you start your career doing acting or voiceover acting, any type of thing, you do a lot of stuff that's very low paying, or you do a lot of stuff that doesn't have a lot of exposure. And you do it because I won't do anything for free necessarily, but you do it as quote unquote paid practice. You do it so that you can develop your skills. And by doing this, I feel like you're developing your skills to become a better interviewer.
Yes.
So then when the time comes, you'll be able to have like a green screen or a set and a larger platform volume wise. Because, with 1,000 followers, there's not going to be a lot of people watching your show. So a lot of people might say, well, I'm not going to get any exposure by doing this show at this point in time, but it's building something from the ground up, and that takes time.
No, absolutely.
That you're not meant to be, the #1 channel on YouTube the first week. It's going to take time. And you might want to reach out to more organizations that are supportive of people with disabilities, and get those people to follow and get those people on board, and then do a mishmash of different types of interviews with different types of people, and then it'll grow, but it takes time.
No, absolutely. And for an example, I have interviewed actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, dancers, people with disabilities, people without disabilities, everyone up on the walk of life. So I cover all my bases. And, it isn't just, I don't want to interview just people with disabilities, but I want to show you that I can interview a whole horizon of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to show you that I'm more diverse and I can do different things. It isn't, I don't want it to be like an oxymoron or black and white, and like you said, oh, you're just doing this or you're doing this. And so I'm trying to please everyone and trying to just, what I mean, just trying to cover my bases.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
No, absolutely. With that being said, was there anything you wanted to know, anything you wanted to talk about with the time we have?
The question I have for you is, what is all that stuff behind you?
All right. Well, for the most part, I thought it would be nice to change up my background.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have my Lucky Cats for good luck. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Power Rangers, so I had a lunchbox. Okay. I had this since I was a kid. I had the WWF Intercol Championship.
Very cool.
On the back you see is a little thing. I'm a big Apple person, obviously. And my dog ripped the crap out of the belt. So I always had this, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with something like this? And then it's like, I threw it in a crate, and I was like, maybe I can use it for a decoration. This, on the other hand, it's part of the talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And that the whole point of this belt, let me just figure out how I'm going to hold it like this. So basically, the long story about this is I got made fun of because you don't buy yourself a trophy. Trophies are given to you. The reason I got this is I wanted to reward myself for, interviewing. Pretty much, long story short, I'm trying to find the words for it. I got up to 300 interviews originally. And with that being said, people would actually come out of the woodwork and say, my agent said, my publicist said, you ask a lot of stupid questions, we don't like the video quality, because when we started from season, you can see it, season 1, season 2, it's what you see on the reflection, that's what the camera picked up.
Okay.
And so, that was season 1 and season 2. Then I came across, Skype Recorder. Now it's cut in half. I'm on the right, you're on the left. Or if you interview me, I can flip it. And I got up to 300. And I was very proud of myself. And this belt, it's custom made. It's banged up because, I'm imperfect. I wanted this to be glass. Unfortunately, it's plastic, so it used to peel off. So I came up with the bright idea that, maybe I could glue it. So I used Gorilla Glue, and it kind of smudged, and I went to wipe it, and I accidentally smudged it. It was a paper towel. What a genius I am. But I custom, the whole bell, the whole stars. Originally, the stars were supposed to be American flags. I thought that would be, too patriotic, take away from the belt. So I said, okay, let's see the stars. And it's really cool because the green really stands out with the white, and the red really stands out with the white. And I really liked, the symbol. It says my network on it. I had to fix the bottom part because I had championship. So it said, what's your belt say? I said, championship. It's supposed to say champion, but it said championship. It's like KeithAndrewNetWork championship. So I sent it back, and I said, can you fix it, make it say championship? And to make a long story short, I got up to 300, and little by little, people were making idle threats to me, saying, we're going to sue you, you're discriminating, you're not saying who you say you are, we don't want to be associated with people like you. People are like, at the same time, you're not copyrighted, you're not trademarked. So I said, screw it. I took everything down from I liked professional wrestling, like I did mention in my other interviews. I wanted the KeithAndrewNetWork to present uncensored. And with that being said, it was uncensored at the time. Then when I took it down and said, you know what, here's the permission form, here's what the show is about, you sign the permission form, it's a done deal. If it's an open window of 30 days, you want me to do it over or edit it, I can do that. But after you sign the form, it's mine, and I can do whatever I want with it. So I wasn't doing permission forms at the time. I was taking people at their word. So I took everything down. I got over 200 people said yes, you can have use of the interview. So from uncensored, it was the KeithAndrewNetWork. Some people said they wanted nothing to do with it. They wanted nothing to do with me, or whatever excuses they had. And I was like, okay, well, if you don't sign the permission form, then I want nothing to do with you. No reason to have my time wasted. So this belt basically symbolizes with everything I have accomplished. And it says, if a kid was a learning disability, who is handicapped, mentally challenged, retarded, who reads and learns at a 5th grade level, can create a kick-ass talk show and have over hundreds of people on the show, then this belt should be a symbol for every single person out there, deaf, blind, in a wheelchair, disabled, not disabled. If you have a passion for doing what you love, this should be a perfect example of saying, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too. So, yes, it was a trophy for myself, but at the same time, I wanted to show people, look at what you can do when you're very motivated. You don't have people telling you can't do this and you can't do that.
Very good. That's pretty cool.
Now, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the talk show. I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Sure.
But wrapping up our talk show segment, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after doing the interview, how do you feel now?
They basically were the same. That you asked, and I kind of am on board with trying to promote that if you follow your dreams and you really are motivated, that really nothing is impossible. Truly, the only thing that can hold you back is your own belief system. That really anything is not insurmountable, and that's exactly what it's all about. So there you go.
And now, how can people follow you on social media? Are you like on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram?
Yep, I'm on all of them. And what's interesting is I have a cousin in Hungary who has the exact same name with the exact same spelling, who is the exact same age, only she's blonde, and she's in Hungary. But basically, it's just wherever you go, just look up Andrea Hadhazy, which is Andrea and then Hadhazy on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. That's all of them. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that stuff. And there you go. Then you'll be able to find me. Just I'm the person with the brown hair who lives in America, not my cousin who's blonde and lives in Hungary.
Now, wrapping up the segment, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But it was
Sure.
a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Cool. Thank you.